Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky back with my plans and pans. So you're probably wondering, why are you wearing a mask? Because my husband, videographer, who is sequestered with me, has COVID. This is the story I want to tell you, and it's kind of a cautionary warning. So on Friday, he had kind of cold symptoms. He was okay, but decided to get a COVID test. And sure enough, he was positive. We were surprised because he does everything. He's fully vaccinated, he's boosted. We're both as careful as can be. But sure enough, he tested positive. Now, that's the bad news. So the good news is that we were scheduled to go to a holiday party. And included in the among the people that were coming was a young couple with an infant child. And finding out that Bob was positive means that all of those people were spared being exposed to COVID. So I want to recommend to you, if you are hosting or going to a holiday party, you're going to be with family, and think about if anybody is immune compromised or, you should get tested before you go. You don't want to find out after the facts, because a lot of people do not have any symptoms at all, are asymptomatic and don't know. So that's just my suggestion. I'll talk to you a little bit more about COVID later. So I want to talk to you about the Build Back Better. Some of you have heard that there is yet potentially another delay before the end of the year, that we aren't going to be able to get the bill passed. I want to start out with this. We are going to get this bill passed. The President of the United States is totally committed. I know you've heard about what Senator Manchin has said. I want you to know that according to the president, according to the White House, that is a contradiction of what he said just 48 hours ago, that actually we were on the path. He was supporting a framework, that he was supporting the dollar figure, that he was supporting most of what is in there, and that we were gonna get it done. That's the first thing to remember. So, the current report may not be accurate, and I know that the president continues to be in touch with Senator Manchin. The second thing you need to know is that this bill is fully paid for. This is not a piece of legislation, as big as it is, that will add to the debt, the deficit. No, it is fully paid for. And one of the best ways is that it asks the richest, and I'm talking rich, to pay their fair share. And it lowers the cost of prescription drug prices. Two good ways. The other thing that you should know is that we are not giving up. I want to say that again, and the president is not either. So we are looking forward to, at the very beginning of January, to be able to move this bill forward. It is transformational, and it will change the lives of most people. The last thing I want to say, just in terms of a fact, it does not contribute to inflation. The opposite. It actually lowers inflation because it reduces the cost that ordinary families are experienced in, the cost of health care, the cost of child care, the cost of housing. All these costs go down. And there is the Penn Wharton Budget Institute, one of the favorite institutes that Joe Manchin likes to take information from, says the same, that it will not contribute to inflation. And so that is not a problem, and in fact, it's a good thing to reduce inflation. And the last thing to keep in mind, about the Build Back Better bill that I want to point out is that it will create 2 million clean jobs. And we need good jobs, hopefully labor jobs with good wages. This will come about because of the $500 billion that is going to be spent to address the climate crisis. So we'll be creating jobs, we'll be making the air and our environment much cleaner. 2 million jobs. So I want you, this is a time when if you listen too much to the so-called pundits, Democrats this, Democrats that, not a lot of good news from them. I want you to be proud. I want you to understand that the Rescue Act that we did ended unemployment faster than anything we have seen in the history of the United States. It also cut in half child poverty in the United States of America. And more judges have been confirmed by this administration since John F. Kennedy was the president of the United States. We are just moving along, making progress. Yes, democracy can be messy. It can be a little slower than we want, but we need to stand up and be proud of what we're doing. To make the contrast, I want to talk to you a bit about the January 6th Commission and the fact that the House of Representatives voted to hold our former colleague and the former Trump chief of staff in contempt of Congress. For a while he was cooperating, and then he must have gotten a call from Mar-a-Lago because he totally changed his mind. Now this will go to the Justice Department, and I think it's so very clear that this person, that Meadows, has been in contempt of Congress. And I don't know if you were as appalled as I was when we heard about the text that went to Mark Meadows during the insurrection, pleading with him to tell President Donald Trump to end the insurrection, the attack on the Capitol, the attack on our democracy. The pleading came from sources that you might not expect, including Fox News. Sean Hannity actually said, please, Mark, please tell the president to stop this. It came from Trump supporters. It came from members of Congress, Trump supporters, begging for relief of what was going on. And we know he absolutely could have stopped it. So I think a lot of evidence is now coming out. I think that the January 6th Commission has been doing a good job. We've been hearing from the Republicans that are on that commission as well as the Democrats. So hopefully this is going to end in a place that finally makes Donald Trump fully accountable and everyone else who was associated with this insurrection. Last week, we passed a bill in the House of Representatives that I'm very proud of. I worked with Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. She and I were the co-authors of what is called the Combating Islamophobia Act. It requires then a special envoy at the State Department that would work in various ways, very, very similar to the special envoy that we have to address anti-Semitism, which we've had for many years, to make that a priority, because we know that even in the United States, or in the United States alone, I should say, 73% of Muslims say that they have experienced either discrimination all the way up to violence against them. So this is very important, and it's going on in many countries all over the world, including the genocide in Myanmar that we saw. Not a single Republican voted for that legislation. And we actually had to then take the words down of one of the Republicans who got up and basically proved the need for fighting Islamophobia, because he called her a terrorist. He said that Congresswoman Omar should have be taken out of the United States Congress and stripped of all of her committees, and on and on and on, in the most disgusting way. But again, at the end of the day, not a single Republican voted for this bill, which is really a piece of civil rights legislation, and to put on record that the United States is against Islamophobia around the world, which is on the rise, along with anti-Semitism, which is also on the rise. I wanted to remind you again that it's not too late for open enrollment if you want to get into the Affordable Care Act. You should go to getcoveredillinois.gov. Even if you have insurance right now through the Affordable Care Act, you want to go there and you can get a, a navigator. You can sign up for a navigator to help you find out if the program and the plan that you have is the best one for you. So I would say go and do it right away. Back to and ending with coronavirus. So there's a major spike going on. And we are seeing, however, that 90% of the hospitalizations only are people who are not fully vaccinated. So if you haven't gotten a booster, you haven't gotten all of your vaccinations, please do that. And of course, the unvaccinated. And so we want you to do that. 800,000 Americans now have died. We hit that terrible landmark number. So, we still have to continue to fight. And if you want to know where to get vaccinated, you can go to vaccine.gov, or you can call 800-232-0233 and find out where you can get a vaccine. And finally, I want to tell you that there is a resolution that Rosa DeLauro and I have have introduced, and now we have a growing number of House members who are on it, called End the Pandemic Now. It is House Joint Resolution 60. And the way we are talking about it is how the United States can play a very important role as the most powerful country in the world to get these other rich countries to help get the vaccines, end, or at least temporarily end, the intellectual property rights, the profit rights of the big pharmaceutical companies. They exist in several, really just a handful of rich countries, to make sure that they share not only the recipe, but the know-how to make sure that we can have manufacturing going on. The other thing is, there are things that the United States can do on its own. The president, he could do the Defense Production Act, which would force the pharmaceutical companies. Pfizer and Moderna, by the way, where we paid all of the cost of research and development, and should be doing more for the rest of the world, because where the virus exists, we are all in danger. The virus anywhere puts us in danger everywhere. The Defense Production Act would require them to actually get the vaccines around the world. So it's a fight you've heard me talk about a long, long time. It's well overdue, particularly with Omicron now spreading. It's the major variant in Africa right now. It's come to the United States, to most of our states. The good news is that it doesn't seem to be as deadly as Delta, but still, it is time for us to end this pandemic. So be careful. There are steps that you can take, but in the meantime, get tested, find out before you go to those holiday parties, and of course, I wish you the happiest and healthiest of Christmas, of any holidays that you're celebrating, of being happily and healthily with your families and friends, and to tell you how much I appreciate you and love you so much. Merry Christmas. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.